Hi, good evening. How are you? How did you do in the examination today? The worst thing which happened to you today is that CAT 2019 scores were declared hardly an hour before you might have left for the examination center, isn't that? But anyway, I'm sure many of you must be celebrating at the same time. Many of you might have started sulking. Please, many examinations are left. You have anxiety tomorrow. All right, we will talk about TISSNET in this particular session. All right, this year TISSNET is different or was different in many possible ways. Certain reasons were already known to you. This is for the first time that for certain courses TISSMAT was also introduced. All right, in fact, usually this examination is of 1 hour and 40 minutes duration, which is 100-minute duration. All right, but this time, all those people who had applied for certain courses, the duration of the examination was 2 hours and 10 minutes because of TISSMAT, isn't that? All right, I'm Vijay Kalyan Jha and I welcome you to Gradeup for this wonderful session on TISSNET. Okay, all right, let's look at the changes. First of all, please do write here in the live chat that how did you do in the examination and how many questions you attempted in TISSNET and how many questions you attempted in TISSMAT. All right, a very good evening everyone. All right, now major changes introduced in the examination. Of course, we have already talked about this introduction of TISSMAT for certain courses. And which are these courses? The most coveted program for this crowd watching this session is MA in HR and LR, isn't that? And the other one is ODCL. Not many people are even aware of this ODCL, so please look at this. That is Organization Development, Change and Leadership. For these two programs, MA in HRM and LR and ODCL, TISSMAT has been introduced, isn't that? And mind you, TISSNET did not have any negative marking, but TISSMAT had negative marking. Please keep that in mind. And moreover, those people who are interested in MA in HRM and LRM, all right, please do keep that in mind. To me, the biggest change this year is that in the overall admission, okay, TISSNET is not going to get any weight. This is just qualifying in nature. For all those people interested in MA in HRM and LR, please do keep that in mind that TISSNET this year is just qualifying, all right. There would be some emphasis on TISSMAT and then of course the second round. All right, okay. What next? The overall structure of TISSNET 2020 at a glance. Of course, this is something which we were already aware even before we saw the examination test, right? Or the test. 30 questions in English, 30 questions in math and 40 questions in general awareness. Out of these three sections, of course, 100 questions to be done in 100 minutes, the way it has been for last many years. All right, but one change here as well. You didn't have any sectional cutoffs for English or mathematics, but you had a sectional cutoff of 14 in case of general awareness. But as one of my colleagues, Mansi, suggested, does that actually make a difference, this sectional cutoff of 14? Even if you get, let's say, 29, 28 sort of scores in the remaining two sections, you get something like 55, 56 in English and math put together. In order to get the overall cutoff, you will certainly be needing something like 14 to 15. So this is not of any consequence in our opinion, but theoretically this sectional cutoff of 14 existed. Yeah, please do keep that in mind. All right, okay. Jagtap is asking, how much are you expecting the cutoff? We shall talk about that, Jagtap. Just be patient. All right, okay. Now, when it comes to the overall structure of TISSMAT, please keep that in mind that you got a reprieve of 5 minutes between TISSNET and TISSMAT. Okay, You got a reprieve for 5 minutes. You could rest for those 5 minutes, all right, but you could not leave your seat. You had to appear for TISSMAT immediately after TISSNET with a gap of 5 minutes, all right, and this is how the structure was. 15 questions of comprehension. Basically, there were 2 passages, all right, 2 passages. On the first passage, you had 8 questions. On the second passage, you had 7 questions. We remember the topics also. We will talk about that, all right. On management data interpretation, on the name of management data interpretation, in fact, many students, they had been wondering, what would this management DI be? All right, so this management DI proved to be the usual DI stuff which you get in any MBA entrance examination. In fact, it was extremely simple. All right, so here in management DI, you had 3 sets of 5 questions each. All right, all doable, all doable. So if someone asks me that how much should a candidate score out of 15, I would say 15. All right, there was probably one theoretical question which was related to sample survey. All right, so that is something which probably you could have missed. All right, remaining 14 questions were all doable. Business awareness, okay, business awareness was the key here. Okay, we somehow believe that business awareness section, right, was from moderate to difficult level. You had very difficult, a few very difficult questions there, all right. Okay, so let's move on from here. So 45 questions to be done in 30 minutes. Please keep that in mind, all right. Okay, yes, difficulty level of TISSNET. English, easy. Mathematics and logical reasoning, easy, of course. And in fact, when a colleague of mine, who is one of the toppers in CAT, okay, CAT 2019, he was asking me about the difficulty level. I told him that probably the difficulty level, the pattern of difficulty level will remain same even in TISSNET 2021. Okay, so this is what we do every year. English, easy. Mathematics, easy. General awareness, moderate. All right, okay. From here, but when it comes to TISSMAT, again, comprehension was easy. Management data interpretation was super easy. All right. Business awareness, moderate, we would say. Okay. Now let's compare TISSNET and TISSMAT, okay, in the next 2 minutes. Comprehension of TISSMAT was actually easier than the comprehension or English section, okay, put together of TISSNET. Okay. When it comes to management DI, all right, so management DI of TISSMAT was certainly easier than quantitative aptitude of TISSNET. All right. When it comes to business awareness, I feel that business awareness of TISSMAT was more difficult than, all right, general awareness of TISSNET, for sure. Okay. All right, let's move from here. Now we are giving you the breakup of questions in English Proficiency test. All right. You had 2 passages. First passage, first or second, I do not know. One of the passages was on rapid eye movement, REM period, and why that is important for us. Okay. All right. Another passage was transfer of diseases by Europeans to Americans, not to Americans, to Indians basically, right, who were the natives when these Europeans reached America. All right. And in fact, the passage claimed that as many as 90% of the native population got wiped out because of the diseases carried by our erstwhile masters. Okay, I anyway do not like them. Okay, let's come to error spotting. There were as many as 3 questions on error spotting. Okay, a few of probably at least one of these 3 questions, okay, was slightly tricky also, because you had options like only 1, only 3, 1 and 3, 2 and 4, like this. Synonyms and antonyms, you had as many as 4 questions. In my opinion, they were mostly doable. All right. Fill in the blanks or O. I didn't realize while doing the test. Okay. But there were as many as 8 questions of fill in the blanks. Okay. And I think one question was probably tricky because I also, why am I being arrogant? I do not know. But I had to invest a bit of time, okay, in order to get the answer. I'm still not sure if I got the right answer. Okay. Jumbled up sentences, there were 2 questions on parajumbles. Okay. Verbal reasoning, there were as many as 3 questions, all very, very doable. All right. Okay. So, Jagtap is saying, I expect the cutoffs to go down this year by 5 to 7 marks. we also expect the TISSNET cutoff to go down jacked up, okay, but the extent may not be as high, okay, as you probably would want it to be, okay, probably to match your score also, sorry, okay, all right. Let's look at the distribution of questions in mathematics and logical reasoning. You had as many as 8 questions on arithmetic, okay, 4 questions of number system, geometry and mensuration, 6 questions, algebra 4 questions, permutation, combination, probability, your favorite topic. There were 2 questions, all right. We would be discussing a few of the questions also. So, all those people who expect me to discuss a few questions, I would not disappoint you, all right. Okay, just have a bit of patience, all right. DI, there were 2 sets, okay, of 3 questions each. So, one was on pie charts, the other one was on tables, all right. And I somehow believe that all these questions were doable. And please, please, please keep one thing in mind. There were 2 questions in this particular section where all the options were incorrect. I would want all of you to know that just do not worry. If you did not find the correct answer among the options in as many as 2 questions of this particular section, all right. In fact, it happens in many examinations that you bump into some erroneous questions. I hope and almost pray that you didn't waste much of your time on those 2 questions. There was one question based on telecom, okay, that there is 50% reduction in price during the night time from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. all right. And the reduction was to an extent of 50%, because of which your overall bill reduces by 40%. So, in what ratio, okay, you had your daytime calls and nighttime calls. The correct answer to that question would be 1:4. If you got 1:4 and was surprised not to find 1:4 among the options, just do not worry, okay, just do not worry. The options were given as 2:3, 3:2, 1:2 and 1:3. All 4 options are certainly incorrect. Similarly, there was a question in DI in which the answer had to be 17%. Okay, in all my senses, I declare that the answer had to be 17%. 50% of 28 and 10% of 30. So, 14 plus 3, the answer had to be 17%, but that was not among the options. This reflects very poorly on part of TISSNET. This is completely unacceptable. This is completely unacceptable in any of the examinations, especially an examination of this nature. All right? Okay, so don't you worry. Okay, let's move to the next one. General awareness, at least I found that to be of moderate level of difficulty. In fact, I've spoken with a couple of students as well at the center as well as here in the organization. Okay. So, people found general awareness to be of moderate level of difficulty, from moderate to difficult, I would say. Okay. All right. Okay, let's come to TISSMAT comprehension. So, the first passage or one of the passages, first or second, I shouldn't say, was on augmenting ratios in railways. Okay. It was on a particular ratio. Can anyone please put your response that what ratio am I talking about? Okay. Which is 98.33% or something like this. Okay. That was on railways. And the other one was government's investment in public sector. It was something like this, that we have been privatizing some public sector units. Okay. That does not mean that we should stop thinking about investing further or starting new public sector units. Okay. All right. When it comes to TISSMAT management and data interpretation, right, you had one set of questions, okay, on telephonic calls, 100 telephonic calls and the duration. Okay. This sample was collected over a duration of 3 days. I hope you remember. Okay. Like I very clearly remember that one of the answers was 96% or 96. Okay. Because there were exactly 4 calls which were of 1 minute of duration. That much I remember. And one of the questions was that for how many calls the duration was more than a minute, at least 2 minutes or more. So, answer was 96. That much I remember. Okay. Similarly, one was on employment in 2 villages A and B. Okay, the population of village A, I remember somehow 17,500, and that of village B was 10,000. All right. So you have percentage of employed people, percentage of unemployed people, and there was a third category as well. All right. Okay. Then there was one set of questions on continent. Okay. Probably 260 billion was the value of the market in a particular year. Okay. It appears that there is some technical problem. Sorry. Oh, it has been sorted. It appears now. Okay. So in one particular year, okay, the overall market was of 260 billion, and the distribution of that 260 billion was given, okay, in terms of the different continents of the world or different areas of the world, because North America is not a continent. Okay. North America is a continent. Okay. All right. So North America, all right, Africa, Asia, others is definitely not a continent. So I should say different regions of the world. All right. Okay. So these were the three sets of DI in your TISSMAT. Overall, I would say that a score of close to 32, 33. I would consider a score of 32, 33 a good score. Okay, and anything above 35, 36, I'm talking about TISSMAT, a very good score. All right. Okay. Next, TISSMAT business awareness. Most of the students found it to be from moderate to difficult. Okay. There were certain answers, certain questions, okay, which were fit enough to be asked in a very good quiz, okay, at a very good level. All right, like there was one question on debit card, credit card, okay, ATM cards, and in fact it was about a novel which was written in the 19th century on futuristic developments, okay, and then they said that this particular author who had written this book, he had talked about this particular thing in the 19th century, and it became true when, okay. So, of course, it would have taken some effort, all right, to attempt even 10 questions out of those 15, in our opinion, all right. Okay. Now, good attempts, TISSNET, I would say in English, and mind you, we have been talking about TISSNET as well as TISSMAT, okay. In case of TISSNET, net, right. In English, nothing less than 27, 28. In mathematical and logical reasoning, I'm saying 25, 26. I'm saying 25, 26 because I've excluded those two questions, of which all the options were incorrect. Okay. If I include those two, how can I include those two? Practically only 28 questions existed. Right. 25, 26 questions. 25, 26 is a good score. Now, please keep that in mind that there was no negative marking. When it comes to general awareness here, okay, 14 anyway is the cutoff. Okay, 14 anyway is the cutoff. So, some 7, 8 marks above the cutoff. 20, 22 I would consider good. And when it comes to an overall, the overall cutoff for general category, I believe that that should be in the range 71, 72. Okay. All right. Last year it was 75, I reckon. Okay. Look at this. Now, good attempts in TISSMAT. I would say in comprehension, out of 15, 13, 14. All right. In management DI, all 15, all 15, slightly exaggerated, maybe 14 I would say, 14. Take that as 14. All right. And business awareness, 7 to 8 is a very good attempt. Just don't you worry. So 35 to 37 is an outstanding attempt. Okay. 35 to 37 is an outstanding score, not attempt. Sorry. All right. 35 to 37 is an outstanding score. Okay, even if you get 32, 33, that's okay. All right. And please, this is not a qualifying thing. Okay. It would get some, it will matter only if you qualify in TISSNET. Please keep that in mind. Okay. All right. Next. Now, TISSNET 2019 cutoffs, and mind you, 2019 cutoffs, this 2020, right? So, 2019 cutoffs were 75 for general category, OBC 67, SC, ST 59. Okay, since I appear for these tests every year, almost every year, I would want to share, I scored some 82 or 83, all right, okay. Now, TISSNET 2020 expected cutoffs. We believe it should be 71, 72 for general category. For OBC category, it should be 62 to 63, and SC, ST, brethrens, it should be 55, 56, all right, okay. let's discuss a few of the questions. And in fact, many questions which appeared in TISSNET quantitative aptitude part. Okay, they were actually theoretical. I'm sure all of us, we know that AM is greater than equal to GM is greater than equal to HM. Arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean in that order. And this was one of the questions. Alright, this was one of the questions. Of course, your answer was AM is greater than equal to GM is greater than equal to HM. Isn't that? Similarly, one of the questions was, which of the following is a factor of x to the power 4 minus 1? Of course, the answer is obvious. It would be x plus 1. X square minus 1 into x square plus 1, x plus 1, x minus 1. That is it. You had many such questions, which is why I said that even after excluding those two erroneous questions of quantitative aptitude section of TISSNET 2020, all right, a good attempt was of, or a good score would be of 25 to 26. All right. Next, in TISSNET only, these were the words which appeared in the examination. Coalesce was one of the words. In fact, they asked you the synonym of this, and the answer was amalgamate. Please keep that in mind. Similarly, one of the questions was, they asked you antonym of competent. Okay, inept was the answer. All right. Now, one of the questions was coveted, and they had asked you the synonym of, okay, coveted. I hope you remember this. One of the questions was on the word gullible. Okay, they had asked you the antonym of the word gullible. Of course, skeptical. If you're gullible, anyone can make you believe anything. All right. And in fact, they had given a very good synonym of gullible. All right. But the correct answer was, of course, skeptical. All right. So you needed to be very sure about certain things. Okay. Many people, the moment you answer a question on synonym and the next question is an antonym, there's a good chance that you may not take care of the change. All right. Please. Okay. Let's move to the next one. Now we are discussing a few TISSNET 2020 questions. All right. So these questions were like this. The first recipient of Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award, Vishwanathan Anand. Okay. Similarly, odd one out, PV Sindhu, Ashwini Nachappa, Jwala Gatta, Saina Nehwal. First of all, Ashwini Nachappa is almost my age, and remaining at least two of them are more or less of your age, PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal. All right. So of course, the answer is Ashwini Nachappa. She was a sprinter. Remaining three are badminton players. Okay. What is bad in badminton? I do not know. Okay. SME clusters in India recognized by the Ministry of MSME. Okay. This question was there. The theory of economic drain of India during the British independence was propounded by Dadabhai Nauroji. Okay. Is a well-known fact. These were the questions, okay, which appeared in the examination. Okay. Now, TISSNET 2020, a few more questions. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. I marked it wrong. Okay. I somehow believe that probably Martin Luther King was the answer, but the correct answer is Mahatma Gandhi. That is what, okay, my colleagues here want me to believe. Okay. Similarly, full form of HTML, something which many of us use but do not know the full form of. Okay, hypertext markup language. Okay, India's first manned space mission, Gaganyaan. Okay, and which two gases are responsible to break down the ozone layer? I'm sure you know the answer. All right. Okay, let's move from here. TISSNET 2020 questions. Okay, Araku Valley was asked in the examination. They wanted to know in which state. Okay, does it lie? Of course, the answer is Andhra Pradesh. Which country emits the maximum greenhouse gases, GHGs? China. Okay, all right. One of the options were quite close. One of the options was United States of America as well. Okay. How many red balls used in the frame of snooker game? I'm sure many of you, right, play Q games. Okay, the answer is 15. Interestingly, most of us might have noticed that the triangle is put. Okay, so your answer had to be a triangle number. Among the options, you had only one triangle number, which was 15. Okay. Similarly, high-speed locomotive with speed of 180 km per hour. Okay, was developed by, or rather developed at Chittaranjan, is a place in West Bengal. Okay, Only because I'm talking about these questions, that does not mean that I could mark each of the answers right. Okay, many of these answers have been supplied by my colleagues. So please, founder of the local self-government, Lord Ripon. Okay, one of the options was Curzon. Curzon did not do any good to India. Just keep that in mind. All right. Okay, as a hint. Okay. Now, TISSNET 2020 questions, some more questions, odd one out of Vandana Luthra. Okay, I'm sure you're aware of VLCC. Isn't that? Okay, many of you would be. Okay, Arundhati Bhattacharya, Kiran Mazumdar Shah and Anuaga. Of course, Arundhati Bhattacharya is the only person in this group who comes from the field of banking. Alright, she was the head of SBI. Alright, gross national happiness is a philosophy that guides the government of Bhutan, of course. Isn't that? Similarly, lunar rover deployed in Chandrayaan-2, it was Pragyan. Mind you, Vikram was the lander. Vikram was the lander. Any doubt? Okay. Mudassir Ali is asking virtual water. Yes, there was a question based on virtual water. You're right. Okay, so let's see if we are able to recall that question. I would be discussing many more questions here. So do not go away, please. Alright, let us finish those ones which are here. Now, TISSNET 2020 question discussion only. Okay. World's largest multi-purpose underground pumping station, Kaleshwaram Lift Irrigation Project, is in Telangana. This question also appeared, mind you. Okay. Now, most vulnerable animal due to global warming, tiger, narwhal, rhinoceros, deer. It was a question of reasoning. It was not a question of GK. Okay. So, which of the following Arctic animals was the actual question? Okay. 3 of them are certainly not Arctic animals. You should have eliminated them to get your answer as narwhal. Okay. Alright. So, state started the immunization of filaria. That is Uttar Pradesh. Okay. The very place from where I am taking this session for you. Our studio is in Uttar Pradesh. Alright. In which game agricultural short term is used? I watch cricket all the time. There is this colleague of mine, okay. The only thing about which he keeps texting me is cricket. Alright. Even as I was preparing for this session, he tried to discuss cricket. I didn't allow him. Despite that, I got it wrong. I must confess. Okay. I marked golf as the answer. The correct answer is cricket. Alright. Okay. I hope you have got it right. At least the cricket one. Okay. We're a nation of cricket loving people. Okay. Now, let's come to TISSMAT. MAT, mind you, NAT is gone now. TISSMAT, MAT. Jamshedji Tata fulfilled only one of his dreams during his lifetime, at least professional dreams. Personal dreams we might not be aware of, right? It was Taj Mahal Hotel. Options were quite close here. Okay, but the correct answer is Taj Mahal Hotels. Okay. Most valued company of India was also one of the questions. The answer is Reliance. Okay. Mudassir Ali is saying that I also marked golf. I'm happy that there is at least one more person in my league. Okay. Company rolled out its K-12 education transformation framework is Microsoft. Which company is named on one of the enzymes present in our body? Okay. Of course, Pepsi. Alright. This I'm sure that everyone would have marked right. Isn't that? Okay. Let's move from here. Oh, all the best for anxiety. You have your anxiety tomorrow. Okay, it starts early in the morning, but don't you worry. We would be discussing a few questions with you. Alright, let's see how many of those questions you did. Alright. Okay, one of the questions was that which of the following is the youngest PM? Okay. So, the answer is at 34, Finnish Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of Finland. Okay. Sanna Marin. Oh, at least I did it again. In fact, one of my colleagues told me that he marked Sanna Marin. I sort of chided him also. Okay, अरे यार ये तो नहीं होगा. Okay. All right. Now, there was a question on Sagar Mala project as well. Okay. There was one question on Nistha outcomes involved what all? All right. Okay. So please, you can check your answers. I'm sure most of you remember, okay, what you have marked there in the examination. Which year 26th January was celebrated, okay, or rather the question was, which year it was declared that 26th January would be celebrated as India's Independence Day. Okay, this is a slightly tricky question. To the best of my memory, I believed it was declared in 1929, okay, and for the first time it was celebrated in 1930, but the question was about 1929. Okay, I'm 90% sure. 1929 was among the options, unfortunately 1932. All right, remaining two options were useless. Okay. Okay, Chairman of National Human Rights Commission, NHRC. We talk a lot about human rights these days, rightly so. Okay. So, Chairman of National Human Rights Commission is, the current chairman is H.L. Dattu, Justice H.L. Dattu. All right. This one I got right for sure. Okay. Now, the Union Territory, all Union Territories of India which have legislatures, I'm sure everyone would have marked it right. Okay. One is the neighboring state of Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, actually not a state, a Union Territory. Okay. Delhi, Puducherry, and now Jammu and Kashmir. Mind you, of the two new Union Territories, you have got Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Okay. Ladakh would not have any legislature, but Jammu and Kashmir would have a legislature. So, there are three states. Okay. All right. Then one question was on the 2019 United Nations Climate Change Conference, which is also known as COP25. Took place in, answer is Madrid, the Spanish capital. All right. How many of you got it right? Please do let me know. Then there was a question which was on the author of the book, The Uninhabitable Earth. The Uninhabitable Earth. Just before I was about to start this session, I got a message from a friend of mine who stays in Australia that look at this bushfire, okay, which has destroyed an area which is 40 times the size of Delhi. Okay. So, The Uninhabitable Earth was written by David Wallace Wells, DWW. Okay. All right. Let's discuss a few more questions. Now, these questions appeared in TISSMAT, TISSMAT, MAT, I'm saying MAT. Okay. K-12 project, digitization of education, Microsoft, Tata's dream. Oh, we have already discussed these. Payment card, ATM was the answer. Okay. All right. I think I've discussed these questions already. Then there was one question. Let me try to recall whether this question was there in, this question was there in TISSNET. Again, I'm going to discuss a few more questions from TISSNET. Okay. Some Hindi movie directed by, yeah, I will come to that Hindi movie directed by, okay, Margarita with a twist or something like this was the name of the movie. Okay. Many of my colleagues who are here to help me out, and they're sitting here, so you cannot see them on camera, okay, will help me with that. Okay. Which general election was held in April-May 2019? This also I'm sure I got right. The answer is 17th Lok Sabha. Okay. These general elections took place for the 17th Lok Sabha, right? Then there was one question. The successor of GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariff, okay, was followed by WTO. Okay. WTO. The director of that movie, Margarita with a straw, not with a twist, sorry, Margarita with a straw, and the movie was directed by Sonali Bose. Margarita with a straw, and the movie was directed by Sonali Bose, Mudassar Ali Sahab. Was it a Hindi movie? I'm not sure. Okay. So, organization founded in 1995, which was the follower of GATT, was of course WTO, undoubtedly. Okay. Now, let's see how much you scored. Probably we are going to discuss some 10-15 more questions, isn't that? Okay. But probably time for me to take a gulp break. I'm okay now. Now, let's come to a few quantitative aptitude questions. Okay, a few quantitative aptitude questions of TISSNET. In TISSMAT, anyway, you did not have quantitative aptitude, you only had what? Data interpretation, 3 sets. Okay. So, there was a question, there were 2 questions on probability. I am going to discuss both. Okay. One was on you drawing 2 cards without replacement and the probability of these 2 cards being king and queen. And please mind you, here the catch was that this was nowhere written that a king and queen in that order. So, answer to that is 8 divided by 663. Mind you, 8 divided by 663. 8 divided by 663. Okay. Many people marked 4 divided by 663. Okay. But this is incorrect. Why is that incorrect? Because king, queen and king. Okay, you will have to count both the things. So, 4 divided by 663 is incorrect and 8 divided by 663 is correct, mind you. Okay, I'm sure I've disappointed a few of you. Okay, a few of you must have marked 4 by 663, I'm sure. Okay, oh, Mudassar Ali is writing, oh no, not that I'm taking any sadistic pleasure out of it, right? I'm sad for you, Mudassar, but I was sure while discussing this with you. Okay, similarly, there was a question in which you were withdrawing just 1 card from 2 different packs. And that asked you about the probability of you getting at least 1 ace. Okay. The answer is 25 by 169. 25 by 169. Okay. All right. Any doubt, anyone? Now, there was a question on curved surface area, okay, of a cone being S and the volume being V. And mind you, this question also had a bit of error. Okay. Volume to the power 3 appeared as V3 and surface square appeared as S2. Okay. But most of the students, most of you are intelligent enough to make some such modifications, right? So, here the answer was coming out as 36 pi. 36 pi. Similarly, there was a question on logs, 3 consecutive numbers x, y and z, all right. And then you were given some expression. I very clearly remember that the answer to the question was 2 times log of y. This also was one of the answers for sure. And yeah, these ones I'm sure I got right. Okay. Now, there was an interesting question on Pythagorean triplets, that a Pythagorean triplets cannot have, it cannot have all 3 odd numbers. A Pythagorean triplet cannot have all 3 odd numbers because a square plus b square is c square. Okay, if a is odd, b is odd, some of these 2 odd numbers will certainly become an even, because if a is odd, a square is odd, if b is odd, b square is odd. Okay, and otherwise also you didn't have to get into that. You should have probably put some Pythagorean triplets and get the answer. All right. Okay. Then there was one question, that number of how many, the minimum number of cuboids of dimension 5 into 10 into 20. The minimum number of cuboids of dimension 5 into 10 into 20, okay, to be put together so that you can get a cube. The answer which I got is 8. The answer which I got is 8. Please tell me how many of you got it right. Okay. Mr. Sharma is asking, tell me something about this examination. We have already discussed not only something, everything about the examination, Mr. Sharma. Okay, so just watch the video right from the beginning. All right. Okay. Then there was one question in which this was given, that 3x minus 5 is greater than or equal to 4x minus 3. And then you were asked that which of the following will be there in the solution set. So, of course, the only, so here the x had to be less than or equal to minus 2. Okay. One option was minus 2 and the remaining options were all greater than minus 2. Okay. So, of course, minus 2 had to be the answer. Any doubt? Then, of course, there was a theory question in which they had asked you that product of LCM and HCF of a number will always be equal to the product of the numbers. So simple, A into B, isn't that? This also was a question. Okay. All right. Similarly, there was a question, right, on food. That you have some food which is sufficient for either 1800 adults or 2400 children. All right. The answer to that question, answer to food problem was 450. Answer to food problem was 450. Please keep that in mind. Any doubt? Any doubt, anyone? No doubt? Okay. Now, there was one question, another question on cone. The answer to which, another question on cone. Please keep matching your answers. There was a question on cone. Okay. Another question on cone, the answer to which was 3 times L plus R divided by RH. Okay. For me, okay, only one option existed here, because when it comes to the volume, okay, that is always 1 by 3 pi R square H. Okay. So 3 had to be involved. There was only one option in which 3 was involved. Okay. Yes, Mudassar Ali, 450. Aditya, 450 was the answer. Yes, of the food question. Then there was one question that there are two numbers. The smaller number, there are two integers, not numbers, there are two integers. Of course, integers are also numbers. Okay. There are two integers in which the smaller one divides the larger one completely. Okay. What would be the HCF or GCD of these two numbers? Of course, the smaller of the two numbers. That's obvious. Okay, lots of questions on theory. Please. Oh, all my colleagues are working very hard today. All right, to give you more and more questions so that you can know your score. Okay. All right. Then, which of the following sectors, okay, has not been recognized by India, okay, for MSME? MSME, I'm sure you know, micro, small, medium enterprises. Okay, the answer to that question is Baroda. Okay, Baroda or Baroda, whatever you call it. Okay, Vadodara was the actual name originally. Okay, all right. So these are the questions which were there, and again I would want to discuss a few things with you before we wind up the session. And what are these things? The things are that this year, of course, TISSNET had many changes. Okay, and in fact I shouldn't be saying that TISSNET had many changes. The admission process of TISS for the course MA in HRM and LR saw many changes. One of the changes was introduction of TISSMAT. Okay. Isn't that? So let's just rewind what we have already done. Okay. It appears that one of my colleagues will have to help me. So we'll just take you through what all we have already discussed. Okay. And yes, in the next 2 minutes, I'll tell you about the exact cutoffs which we believe would be there for TISSNET 2020 and a good score for TISSMAT 2020. All right. Okay. We have already talked about this. You already knew it also. Okay. Difficulty level for TISSNET: English easy, mathematics and logical reasoning easy, general awareness moderate. Okay. When it comes to TISSMAT, comprehension easy. Okay. MD, management data interpretation, very easy. Okay. And business awareness moderate. English proficiency, this was the distribution of questions in TISSNET. Okay, you can always rewind and watch it. All right. Mathematical and logical reasoning, the exact distribution of questions. Okay. All right. Okay. Now TISSMAT comprehension, there were only 2 passages. Okay, one had 8 questions, the other one had 7 questions, and the topics were augmenting the ratios in railways. The other one was government investment in public sector. Why is that needed? Okay. Now, when it comes to TISSMAT management data interpretation, there were three question sets of 5 questions each. Okay, one was on telephonic calls, the other one was on employment in 2 villages, and the third one was, the third one was on continent-wise market share in 2 consecutive years. All right. Okay. Now, when it comes to good score in TISSNET, we believe in English 27 to 28, in mathematics and logical reasoning 25 to 26, and 25 to 26, keeping this in mind that there were 2 erroneous questions. Please keep that in mind. There were 2 erroneous questions. Answer to the Sahil 1, Sahil and telephone would be 1:4, which was none of the options. And similarly, there was one question in DI where the answer had to be 17%. All right. Okay. In mathematics and logical reasoning 25 26, as I already told you, in general awareness 20 to 22. Okay. When it comes to TISSMAT, good score in comprehension, nothing less than 13 14. In management data interpretation, here we have written 15, but one question was off my mind. I would say 14 now. Okay. General awareness, out of 15, even if you have got 7 to 8 of them right, that's very good. And overall, I would say that 35 to 37 is a very good score. Okay. Now, when it comes to TISSNET 2019, mind you, this just for a reference. TISSNET 2019 cutoffs were like this: for general category 75, OBC 67, SC/ST 59. All right. So, most of the students feel, and we also believe, that the level of TISSNET, okay, went up slightly. It was a tad more difficult than how it was last year, and hence the cutoff should come down. Okay. And we believe that this year the cutoffs would be 71, 72 for general category, for OBC 62, 63, for SC/ST 55, 56. All right. So, on this note, we would want to leave you for your anxiety preparation. Okay, only the mental preparation. I do not expect any of you to do any question for anxiety. Just keep yourself free. Okay, keep your mind free. Do not think much about the question. Watch your favorite TV program. Okay, you have Netflix, I'm sure, or Amazon Prime, isn't that? Okay. And there's one more thing. We are going to take a session on CAT results at around 8 or 8:30, which would be announced soon. Okay. So, all those people who are interested in knowing CAT 2019 story, just wait for some more time. Thank you. All the best for anxiety. Good night.